Good Friday afternoon, and thanks for joining us. I'm Journey Taylor, and here's what we have coming up for your news at noon. First, for the past week, we've heard from concerned parents and teachers about how schools will make up the most recent snow days. Now, education officials are clearing the air. Plus, Alabama carried out a controversial execution of a convicted murderer using nitrogen gas for the first time. Now, many are calling the method cruel and inhumane. And Boeing planes are ready for takeoff following the investigation into the 737 MAX 9s weeks after a door panel flew off mid-flight. And we've also made it to Scott and I's favorite day of the week. It is Friday.
Friday. And you know what, Journey? This has been the longest month
Yes.
this week. It has been, it just stretched out. We had storm system after storm system after storm system. It was gloomy. I don't think we saw the sun for like days at a time. We dealt with fog just about every morning. It slowed us down. This morning was no exception. However, it has really improved out there. There's still a couple of areas of some patchy fog. It's not near as bad as what it was. So if you got lunch plans this afternoon, maybe you want to run some errands before you head into the weekend, I don't think fog is going to be too much of a problem for us. Temperature wise, we're at 53 right now in Little Rock, 50 in Searcy, 52 Arkadelphia, mid 50s in Monticello. Feeling pretty mild, slightly above average already for this time of year. And we're not done warming up yet. I think some of us are going to get pretty darn close to that 60-degree mark despite the mostly cloudy skies. We'll see a couple of breaks in the clouds here and there, occasionally some peaks of sunshine. Now here's the thing. It's been such an active weather pattern over the last couple of weeks. We've got one more system to move through, and it's going to start moving in tonight. It'll be with us through your Saturday. Rain is going to be likely tomorrow. A bit of a mixed bag for the last weekend of Arkansas duck season, no pun intended. Sunday, we dry things out, and beginning Sunday, we're going to see a nice dry stretch of weather, and not just dry, but we'll have lots of sunshine. That's going to feel great, right? I also think you're going to love the temperatures we're going to feel next week. The latest 7-day forecast coming up in just a few minutes.
Scott, thank you. New at noon, police are investigating an overnight shooting at the intersection of Mapleville and Chico Road. Officers taped off a gas station there in the surrounding area, but it's unclear where exactly the shooting happened. LRPD tells us one person went to the hospital, but we're also waiting on word on how bad any injuries are. It's still too early, according to the police spokesperson, to know about any suspects. We're going to continue to work to learn more throughout the day. Meanwhile, police in Pine Bluff are investigating a missing persons case turned homicide. Officers responded to East 26th and South Indiana Street yesterday morning to search for Derek McAfee. The call came from his family, who last saw him on Wednesday night. They found his car the next morning. Officers searched nearby and eventually found McAfee's body. Investigators are asking anyone who may have information about the case to contact police. And a CHV 11 update, pothole repairs are causing lane closures on major highways today, potentially leading to traffic delays. It follows extensive damage due to winter weather. RDOT is working on fixes in areas including I-30 in Saline County, where crews have performed pothole repairs since 5 a.m. Crews are also working on lanes along Highway 67 northbound in Jacksonville between Main Street and Vandenberg Boulevard until 2 p.m. RDOT advises drivers to stay alert and plan routes accordingly. Traffic is being controlled with message boards, construction barrels, and signage. And another update, after days on the run, one of the two murder suspects who escaped from Jefferson County Jail has been caught. Noah Roosh is back in custody today. Around 4 p.m. yesterday, a call came in from someone saying they saw a man fitting Roosh's description. Shortly after, he was found in an abandoned home near 19th Avenue and Plum Street. The other escaped inmate, Jatonia Bryant, is still on the loose. There is still a $2,500 reward being offered for information leading to his arrest. Bryant was in jail on capital murder charges and should be considered armed and dangerous. After some confusion over how schools will make up last week's snow days, Education Secretary Jacob Oliva delivers a message to district leaders. For the past week, we have been following the reaction as many learned that state law is back to requiring snow days to be made up. And the likelihood now is that school might not wrap up until June in many places. Now it comes down to two options: adding days to the end of the year or adding minutes to the end of the day.
By saying, here's a worksheet, go home and fill this out, or log into a Zoom, for an hour is equivalent to making up that day of instruction is ridiculous. So when we look at what are those minimum expectations, it's 178 days of school or 1,068 hours of instruction.
Oliva went on to say districts have the flexibility to pivot to AMI days during inclement weather in order to maintain continuity of the curriculum if they meet the minimum requirements. Summit Utilities is requesting permission to raise natural gas rates. The company sent the letter to customers that they will soon make the request of the State Public Utilities Commission. If approved, Summit expects a typical residential customer will see their bill go up about $18 a month. A first of its kind execution in Alabama last night. Convicted murderer Kenneth Smith was put to death using nitrogen gas, a method that had never been used in an execution or tested. Some of the witnesses say his death was inhumane. Lilia Luciano reports.
Our son was crying, having just watched his father take his last gasp for air.
Deanna Smith broke down in tears as she described watching the execution of her husband, Kenneth Eugene Smith. The 58-year-old was pronounced dead at 8:25 p.m. Thursday, 22 minutes after he started breathing in nitrogen gas through a face mask, depriving him of oxygen.
He began shaking and writhing, but he was tied very tightly down.
Lauren Layton, with our CBS News affiliate in Huntsville, Alabama, was one of 5 reporters who witnessed the execution. They say Smith appeared conscious for several minutes. Then, for at least 2 minutes, he appeared to shake and writhe in the gurney, at times pulling against the restraints. Following that, they say his breath slowed until it was no longer perceptible.
He struggled against his restraints a little bit, but there's some involuntary movement and some agonal breathing, so that was all expected. So nothing was out of the ordinary.
We didn't see somebody go unconscious in 30 seconds. What we saw was minutes of someone struggling for their life.
Reverend Jeff Hood was in the execution chamber with Smith. He says Smith was not unconscious in seconds like the state predicted.
We saw minutes of someone heaving back and forth. We saw spit. We saw all sorts of stuff from his mouth develop on the mask.
Smith was sentenced to death for his role in the 1988 murder for hire of Elizabeth Dorleen Sennett. The state tried to execute him through lethal injection in 2022, but repeatedly failed to find a vein. His lawyers tried to stop Thursday's execution, calling it cruel and unusual punishment, but the Supreme Court rejected their last-ditch effort.
Nothing happened here today is going to bring Mom back. We're not going to be jumping around, hooping and hollering, but we're glad this day is over.
Alabama's governor said, quote, the execution was lawfully carried out by nitrogen hypoxia. The method previously requested by Mr. Smith is an alternative to the lethal injection. Mr. Smith got what he asked for, and this case can finally be put to rest. Lilia Luciano, CBS News, New York.
Some of Alaska Airlines Boeing 737 MAX 9 jets will return to service today after a door panel on an Alaskan jet blew out mid-flight 3 weeks ago. NTSB investigators returned to Boeing's 737 MAX plant today as another team in Washington continues a forensic examination of the door panel that blew out, trying to determine if the 4 bolts that should have held the door in place were installed. Meanwhile, Alaska and United Airlines anticipate inspections to take a matter of days. Each plane has to be individually inspected. Well, shocking statistics suggest a high number of adults live with at least one chronic disease. Coming up, a team of health experts now developing ways to decrease those numbers with food.
Well, we've got one more round of rain moving towards Arkansas right now. Here coming up when we return, we're going to track that out, give you a timeline of when you're going to need the rain gear. We're also looking ahead to a stretch of weather full of sunshine and warm temperatures when those arrive, all coming up in your 7-day forecast.